what's the estimate of kids being trafficked in Thailand and then globally? Do you have a number for that?
And it's, if I remember correctly, my brain is horrible at statistics, but one of the things, I think the last number I saw was there's 40 million slaves worldwide, right? 4% of that 40 million is kids. And so actually children being sold.
Yeah.
And then the last statistic I saw too on just in where we're at in Asia, 80% of all sex trafficking happens here in Asia and the Pacific areas. That's the bulk of where all of sex trafficking happens. And so it's in the Asia area. It's still, like I said, it's not a place on earth that it doesn't touch. It's not like, it's only in Asia. It's literally everywhere. It's if you have heard there's a drug problem anywhere in your state, county, city, town, there's trafficking, man. They go hand in hand, brother.
Jon, you and your wife are the founders of SWAT Ministry International, which is a Spiritual Warriors Against Trafficking Ministries. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do, man. And thank you for your time.
Man, it's all Jesus, brother. It ain't us. We always like to say we like the toenail on the pinky toe of the body of Christ. We fall off every day and nobody misses us, man. We all right. So we're just happy to be a part of it, man. We're just happy to be a part of it.
Oh, that's great, dude. I like to go back with my shows, man. Where did you grow up and what was childhood like for you?
Oh, man. How long we got? So I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up in a little town called Brookhaven, Mississippi, about 45 minutes, 30 minutes from the Louisiana border. And just grew up down south and grew up on a little small farm and out in the middle of nowhere. And just had a love even as a kid to like travel and to go and to do things. And so ended up joining the Marine Corps when I was signed the papers when I was 17. My dad, my granddad was Army and my brother was Navy. And so my dad said, you join any branch of the service you want to. If you join the Marines, I'll kill you. And I was like, okay, well, I turned 17. I went and joined the Marine Corps. So it was, it was one of those things. And so left there in 1998, got on the footprints in California and met my wife about a year later in Virginia Beach. We're at Intel school there and met her. She went to Italy. I went to Japan. And then, God brought us back together, and we stayed talking every day on the phone. This was before Skype. This was before Zoom. This was like just writing letters and getting calling cards, and using payphones and crap. It was always interesting. So we did that for a year, got back and got married, and then we had another couple of years in the Marine Corps, and she was in the Navy.
Okay.
And I don't hold it against her. I mean, we always have to have somebody to drive us where we're going to go to fight. You know what I'm saying? You got to have cab drivers. It's all right. And so
that's awesome.
So she doesn't think so, but it's all right. But we ended up, got married in 2000, and then 2002 we got out and got out, moved back to Mississippi. Just was, our heart was really far from God at that point. Really wasn't living for him and really going through a lot. Our marriage almost imploded. We almost got a divorce. And again, God started healing us. He started drawing us back to him, and then started drawing us together as a family, and God healed our marriage and restored us and then called us into ministry. And so that's where we surrendered ministry in 2008. And then by 2010, he had called us on the mission field out here to Thailand as assistant pastor of a church. And then that's where we started. We had to teach English as a second language. We kind of had the reason to be in the country.
Yeah,
I'd have a visa. And so if you've never taught English as a second language, it's like driving a pencil through your eardrum every 5 minutes. And so it's horrible. It's horrible. People that are able to do it, praise God for you, because I could not. So I started praying. I was like, God, I can't do this for 2 years, man. This is going to kill me.
Yeah.
And so I just started going, God, what can I do? How can I reach the community? And so it was like, well, I can fight a little bit and I can preach a little bit. I'm already preaching, so let me open a self-defense class up. So open a self-defense class up, and God just blessed it, man, and got connected to human trafficking rescue teams. Destiny Rescue was our first team in 2011. We started training them, and man, this blew up from there and just kept growing and growing and growing. And we moved back to the States for a couple of years, and then founded SWAT Ministries at that point, and then, man, we moved back here full time 2015, and that's where we're at, man. So wow, that's in a nutshell. Sorry, I was too long, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. I love it, dude. How you mentioned you kind of were doing a fighting it and then preaching thing, but how did you get into martial arts in general?
Yeah, man. I mean, like every kid, I don't know how old you are, but every kid, you know, in the 90s, you know, grew up watching Jean-Claude Van Damme and
Right.
Ninja Turtles and Karate Kid, man. That was like everybody wanted to be that one of those three. And so I had a love for martial arts. I started Ishinu karate when I was 10. Just started doing that for, you know, here and there for a couple of years, and then just bounced around to going to Taekwondo with my buddies and those kind of things. And then doing the Marine Corps, get involved in the Marine Corps martial arts program. It was called line training. Fell in love with that. Started doing that. And then also got connected with a captain in the Marine Corps who was an Aikido black belt.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of Aikido before. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was. And so I was like, man, I really want to check this out. So I started looking into it. Really liked the ceremony of it. Really liked the flowiness of it. Loved it. And so so started doing that and did that for couple years, got out of the Marine Corps, went back to Mississippi, started doing some judo, Aikido, and got connected with the Mississippi Law Enforcement Academy there in Pearl, Mississippi, and became a law enforcement instructor under a guy named Ron Crew, and he was the head defensive tactics instructor at the Law Enforcement Academy. So got an instructor certification under him in subject control systems and police subject control systems. And yeah, man, then started just kind of went from there and doing different things. Some of my instructors were doing Kali at the time. So I was doing Kali, I was doing Aikido, I was doing Judo, a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu, some Muay Thai and kickboxing kind of stuff. And then ended up coming to Thailand. In 2010, did some Judo and some Muay Thai here. And then went back to America when we moved back, and was down in Florida training with a guy at I think it's Gracie Brandon, Florida, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt down there, and I was training. And we were doing some techniques, and I was showing him some rollover techniques, some handcuffing techniques and stuff. And he was like, well, you can just do this to defend it. And I went, let me try it and see. And so he would just shut it down every time. I'm like, I need to get more sophisticated with my ground.
Right.
So we moved to Virginia after that, and found a Pedro Sauer black belt there, and just started doing nothing but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, combat submission wrestling, and Judo there for a couple years. And then we moved back to Thailand, and then there was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school that was here that had started up a couple months before we moved back. And started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here under GFT Chiang Rai, under a couple black belts here, and love it, man. So I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 8 years now, 8.5 years, something like that. And then doing Muay Thai, got my career in Muay Thai, got my purple belt now in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and black belt in Tahoe Jitsu, and a brown belt in Aikido. So
come on,
that's it,
man.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. All around a bad man. Don't want to.
Nah, just
awesome.
a bad man. Not like a bad. Oh, you bad? Like, no, I'm just a bad man. I'm just like, ooh. It's like, nobody wants to be around me.
Right. You and your wife, like I said, you guys started the SWAT Ministries International. You guys are both like absolute world changers through this. But for those who don't know, what is SWAT Ministry Internationals, and why did you guys decide to start this thing?
Yeah. So what SWAT does is we provide self-defense and defensive tactics training for human trafficking rescue teams. That's how we started. Because, like I said, we started in 2011 training death and rescue. Yeah. Because these guys that are going undercover, they're not freaking Rambo. They're not, special forces guys. Most of them aren't. Most of them are just carpenters and plumbers, electricians, just normal guys who say, man, here's a problem, and I want to be a part of the solution. So they sell everything they own and they move over to whatever country they're in, and they start just trying to rescue kids. And so they find themselves in a lot of dangerous situations, as you can believe. Yeah. And so they didn't have a way of like, if crap hit the fan, what are they going to do? How are they going to get out of there? And so they had some situations, and then God kind of, through God's providence, kind of connected us in with them and started training them and doing that to help them, protect themselves. And that's kind of started growing. And so that was our main focus, was helping human trafficking rescue teams, also training the house parents. We kind of revamped the self-defense system for house parents, kids, adults that deal with children who have been brought out of trafficking, because a lot of these kids are broken, man. You figure they've been sold up to 100 times a night, man. They're freaking broken. And so sometimes they can have bad days. And
Yeah.
so, they were just started hearing stories of kicking windows out of safe houses and trying to stab the house parents with it, with the shards of glass, breaking legs off of chairs, trying to hit the house parents with it. We were down in Dominican, man, and those girls were taking toothbrushes and filing them down like shivs in prison and stuff and trying to stab the house parents with it. And,
Oh
and
my
so stuff like
gosh.
that. So he's like, man, we got to train the house parents too to protect themselves, but also to protect these kids, man, because they're trying to restore them back to wholeness. And if you're attacked by a 15-year-old kid with a shard of glass, what you gonna do? You're gonna survive. Your survival instincts kick in, and you
Yeah.
may throw a 1-2 on them, something like that. And you may stay safe, but what's going to happen is you're going to break that trust you've been building with these kids for months. And so
Right.
one of the things that we started training the house parents to do is how to protect themselves, but also keep the kids safe. So that was the second kind of part that kind of happened in the self-defense training. And then we started training the girls themselves after they've been rescued out. Part of the rehabilitation program is to basically give them tools to protect themselves if they're ever back in situations once they're back in society. And so that's kind of how we started. And then we started moving into, we started actually kind of getting more organized with kind of our approach for everything. And so we have a 3-tier model. And so we have our self-defense and rescue side, because even some of our operatives or our staff will go out on rescues with them to augment their team sometime.
Wow.
And so that's our help and rescue and keeping them safe. And then we have our outreach and discipleship, which is going into villages, going in for prevention and stuff. So going in and making sure, telling kids about, hey, this is what trafficking looks like, but also this is who you are in Christ. This is your value. The girls have, you have value. You don't need to be sold. Nobody can hurt you. You have value that is in Christ and in God, and He's given you that. And so you're worth protecting. And then, so we give to the boys in the village too. We say, God's made you strong. God's made you a warrior for a purpose, and that's to protect those that can't protect themselves. And so we're trying to fight that on the core level where the trafficking comes out of in those really poor villages and stuff. And then, of course, doing outreach in the gospel, sharing the gospel every time we go.
Yeah.
And that's our second tier. And our third tier is aftercare. And so one of the things that we're doing right now is we're opening up the long-term aftercare homes in order to bring these kids into a family that are too young to go into like the community care, and it's too dangerous for them to go back to their home. And so what we're doing now is we're trying to start what we call a safe village. And so we're actually we're actually in the process, the Lord willing, if God brings the money in, of buying 10 acres of land out in the middle of nowhere to provide a safe village for these kids, to have about 4 or 5 families that bring in kids and just raise them, disciple them, love them, and restore them and send them back out in the world, man. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. That is awesome. And I just saw that you guys did sign the lease on that land, at the end of September there. And man, just praying that all goes through right. And man, you guys are just doing so much for the Lord, man, and just impacting the world, man. Thank you so much, man.
It's like I said, it's all Jesus, man.
Yeah,
we can't take no credit for it.
Right?
We can't take no credit for it.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, starting with Rewebbed. They are the best digital marketing agency on the planet. I love working with those guys. Founded by a guy named Ian Inman. He's on a mission to feed 1 billion kids and help 1 million entrepreneurs. Go check them out. Tell them I sent you. Alpha Outpost, amazing monthly subscription box sent right to your door every single month. You can start for $5. They send you cool stuff like this. Go use the code TOPRATEDMMA for 15% off your order. Every time that I have a guest on my show, they say that's an amazing flag. Well, this flag here and many others that I own are from a company called Combat Flags. Is a veteran-owned company. They're on a mission to donate as much money as they can to stop soldier suicide. It's an amazing organization. Go check them out, Combat Flags.
I first heard about you guys in the documentary that Craig Sawyer did, Contraland there. Yeah. Currently, what's the estimate of kids being trafficked in Thailand and then globally? Do you have a number for that?
It's, if I remember correctly, my brain is horrible at statistics, but one of the things, I think the last number I saw was 40, there's 40 million slaves worldwide. Right. And so I think 2% I'm sorry, 4% of that 40 million is kids. And so actually children being sold. Yeah. And then the last statistic I saw too on just in where we're at in Asia, 80% of all sex trafficking happens here in Asia and the Pacific areas. That's the bulk of where all of sex trafficking happens. And so is in the Asia area. And so but it's still, like I said, it's not a place on earth that it doesn't touch. It's not like, oh, it's only in Asia. It's literally everywhere. It's, if you have there's a drug problem anywhere in your state, county, city, town, there's trafficking, man. They go hand in hand, brother. So it's everywhere, man. And like I said, kids are the most vulnerable and easiest to target. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, it seems like where I'm at least my wife and I have noticed that it comes in waves where we won't see like missing kids for a while. And then all of a sudden we'll see like 8 or 10 over a couple weeks that are popping up all of a sudden, you know, and it's like, man, just swooping in and getting them out of town, I guess, man. It just is insane. Man, I'm sure that all the rescues are different, but what's that situation like for your team when they go in? Is there a typical rescue process that you guys have to go through to kind of get these kids out there?
Yeah. So one of the things is we don't directly do the rescue. Like we help, we augment teams, but we're not the ones actually going in. Like, so we try to make that very clear. We augment and support those that do. So like Destiny Rescue, Exodus Road, there's tons of other organizations. There's actually about 7 different organizations we work with that do go in. And so we're partnering with them, helping them, supporting them, helping them grow them out. So there's usually two ways rescues happen. One is through they call it soft rescue. And so what a soft rescue is, you basically go undercover and you build a relationship with the girl. You find a target and you start building a relationship with them, talking with them, finding out information, making sure their age, making sure, you know, they are being sold and those kind of things. And then once you build the relationship and they trust you, then you go, okay, here's who I really am. Here, if you want a way out, I can get you out. And because a lot of them just go, okay, cool, I don't want to be in this, let me go. And so they can leave. They just kind of, they set up meeting up and they're gone before the trafficker can find out where they're going to.
Yeah.
And so, but sometimes that doesn't happen. They're like, no, I want money, or no, they're going to say they're going to kill my family, or no, that, you know, I can't, who am I going to go to? I don't have any papers. I'm not a citizen of New York. And so when those happen, then all information is taken to the human trafficking police of whatever country they're working in. And then, I mean, it's not like your local, you know, Barney Fife guys. It's just the top level, you know, FBI level of every country that they partner in, we partner in.
Yeah.
And we work with those on a really small team. They have they've already got all the intel, all the information, and then they just go do a raid. And so they do a setup and raid, go in and pull the kids out and arrest the traffickers. And so that's usually the two ways that it happens, either through just a soft rescue or an actual raid that they have to, you know, build and then go in with police and armed police officers and pull out.
Gotcha. How can folks get involved with SWAT Ministries? I mean, obviously, I think you guys have an awesome shop on your website with really cool products, but what are the other ways that folks can get involved with you guys?
Oh man, like man, you can get on a plane and come over here and work with us if you love Jesus and you want to get involved, man. We're always looking for people to come over and actually, you know, work on the ground with us. In the States as well, we're actually building what we call shield bearer teams, and those are going to be, they're more discreet. We can tell you that it's there, but we're not going to tell you who's part of it. Right. But if you're a martial artist or if you're a special forces guy, somebody that has skill sets that can that can't move over long term, but wants to be a part of training rescuers, those kind of things, and going and being part of our training teams, then there's a way to do that. Sweet. And there's avenues you can get contact through our website and stuff. You can just message us and say, hey, we're involved, and then we'll start, you know, visiting you and starting to evaluate if you're for the team. Yeah. And so that's one way. And then also just doing awareness stuff. You know, we have, you know, fundraisers that happen all the time, and it's crazy. I've become a professional beggar, man. It's like, it's always fundraisers going on. You're like, oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate asking for money. That's why I have other people do it. I'm like, I can't. It just makes me asking for money. So that's always something that's there. And in the States, that's starting to happen there. And and so I don't know but the website has all the information on it. Our Facebook page is how we stay in contact with most people. So you can go to Facebook, check us out, Instagram, SWAT Ministries International, Facebook, SWAT Ministries International, our website, SWATministriesInternational.org. You know, that's how you get in touch with us, man. And so there's all kind of ways to do that. Like I said, we have positions for the States, for like graphic designers or, you know, media people or, you know, we got a human resource guy now, so we don't need that. But stuff like normal admin stuff, we'd have those too. if you're not in the training, but you say, hey, I'm a good administrator, like, well, come on, man, we need you, brother. So
yeah,
our sister, we're good with that. So
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of how you get involved.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. I love to finish my show with just my favorite thing is like, I love music, man. So I always love to ask this. Do you have a favorite type of music or favorite band that you like?
Oh man. Oh Lord. I like all kind of music. I'm pretty, like, you can listen to my playlist on, like I put on Spotify. It's like from 90s rock to to whatever. It's some weird techno crap in there too, so it's all kind of all over the place. I love 90s alternative, like Stone Temple Pilots, probably one of my favorite bands. With Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, those guys. That's my go-to, man. I love to sing this stuff and this and rock out on 90s music, man. So yeah, I don't know if that there's I don't have a favorite band. I don't know if there's like this one band that sticks out to me. I don't know, man.
That's awesome.
What do you like, man?
I'm big on the 90s too. I was kind of used to be like a big just straight metalhead, like Korn, like Chevelle and all those guys. And
I love Chevelle.
I got a job with Universal Records in my early 20s, and I did that for a year. And so they kind of like were like, dude, you have to listen to this music. And it was like country and rap and all this R&B stuff. And so it kind of opened my eyes to everything. And so I'm all over the place, but my heart is really in that 90s, that hard rock, man. And things like that. And I mean, been blessed to go to probably 150, 200 concerts in my life.
That's
man.
awesome.
And, it's been
that's awesome, man.
I've
been to two.
Man. Okay.
Two concerts in my entire life. That's it. And three. And two of those were Christian concerts, and one was Aerosmith.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I went and saw Aerosmith 1 year in my early, I think I was 19, and my parents at almost to the date had seen them 27 years earlier in a small concert band. Just like wild, man.
They got some longevity, man. They got some longevity.
Yeah.
I think they'll make it. I think they're going to be a pretty good big band,
Right, yeah. One of these days. Probably one of the coolest things I ever saw was during that concert with Aerosmith. The guitarist just way on a guitar, and all of a sudden he takes his strap off and takes his guitar and smashes it on the stage. And like almost in the same motion that he smashed the guitar, this guitar comes flying out from the side of the stage. He catches it and doesn't miss a beat. And
that's awesome.
I mean, just wild. I was like, whoa.
That's awesome, man. Is that Joe Perry doing that, or who was that?
Yeah, Joe Perry. Yeah, Joe Perry, man. Just
golly, that Joker's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
Man, that's sad. Like Eddie Van Halen died, man. That's just that sucks, dude. Oh, I was like, I wasn't a big like Van Halen guy. I wasn't a David Lee Roth guy. I was more of a Sammy Hagar guy. But like, even though you didn't listen to like a lot of music, I didn't listen to a lot of music. It's still, you miss. Eddie Van Halen was one of the greatest, man. So
man, absolutely
sad day.
Yeah, for sure. John, such an honor to have you on my show, man. You and your wife and your team out there, absolute world changers, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. We can help you. Let us know, brother. We're here for you, man.
Absolutely. Oh, and I want to give a shout out for your podcast, man. What's the podcast, man? Tell me about.
Yeah, man. So we have me and my buddy Anthony. He's actually one of my administrators there in America, in North Carolina. We have a podcast called Guy Schtuff. It's Guy Schtuff. SCHTUFF. I can actually spell. It'd be great. And so we just do interviews with people who love Jesus, but also are doing some amazing work for the kingdom. And also have good job, like cool jobs. Like we've had a crimes FBI agent from the Crimes Against Children was on. We've had a Christian comedian Brad Stein on. We've had comedian Bob Smiley, Craig Sawyer, SEAL Team 6 guy, John Salter, the contender for Bellator.
Yeah.
We've had this. God has kind of opened the door to a lot of cool guys on there, and a lot of rescuers. Actually, if people are interested in rescue stuff, there's actually an interview with one of the head rescuers that I've been training for years is on our podcast. So you can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, all those things, man. It's everywhere. So.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
you have to come on. You have to come on the show, man. You have to come on our show now. You got on yours. You have to come on ours, man.
Absolutely, man. Would be an honor, man. Would love to, man. I'll shoot you an email after this, man. We'll make it happen for sure, dude.
Sounds good, bro.
Thank you so much for watching the show today. I so appreciate it. Please leave a comment down below. Leave us a review. Share this video. We want to get it in front of as many people as we can. I'm going to continue to bring on the best guests possible from world changers, entrepreneurs, success-minded people. We are creating visionaries here on this channel Thank you so much for checking it out. Have an awesome day.